Hello and welcome to this short video talking about some strategies for dealing with challenges and pressure. I'm going to talk through several strategies which I've learned, read about and used in my daily life. It's helped me deal with a number of challenges, and I know that in the future I'll be able to use those strategies to feel calmer, more in control, feel more able to access the best of my abilities, and to be more effective. So there's several things I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about breathing and give you a quick strategy to swiftly apply to everyday life so that you can regulate your breathing and feel calmer. Secondly, I'm going to talk about posing. I've learned a strategy from a Paralympian gold medal winning athlete who taught me about how to put yourself into a confident pose to feel more calm and in control. I'm also going to talk about thinking. Thinking, and I'm going to talk about attention. Okay, so firstly, breathing. You can do this in two ways, but both of them involve breathing in and out. But if you think about it, there are many things you can't control in your life. You can't control the way you're assessed if you're a student, or if you're a professional. You can't control the way the appraisal goes all the way with your colleagues or managers. So something that I find very useful is to give myself a sense of calm and feeling of control, where I actually have control over my breathing. The one thing we can control the most is perception, and I'm going to talk about that a bit with thinking. With perception and attention, we can actually see things more for what they are, rather than being controlled by our thinking in our head. So if we breathe, it actually enables us to return to and focus our attention on something away from our thinking, away from our mind, which can be very helpful. And then when we look again and give attention to whatever it is we're dealing with, we're able to come to it with fresh eyes, as it were. So with this breathing exercise, I've taken influence from a meditation which I downloaded for free from the Isha Kriya website, which was started up by Sadhguru, a yogic mystic. And this breathing exercise involves saying a phrase in your head while you breathe. So on the in-breath, inhalation, you're going to say, "I'm not the body." So for as long as it takes to say that thought in your mind, you can breathe in. And on the out-breath, you can say in your head, "I'm not even the mind." So I'm just going to do that for a moment, and I'm going to talk you through. And using my voice, you can breathe in and breathe out. You're going to be regulating your breathing, and this will help to put you in a more calm, meditative state, where you can try to clear your mind of unhelpful thoughts. Focus your attention on your breath. Ignore what your body is doing, but just focus on your feelings of your breath. And you can feel grateful about being able to breathe and feel life. So just close your eyes and listening to my voice, breathe in and think the thought, "I'm not the body," as I say it. And as I say, "I'm not even the mind," as you exhale with that thought. You can also think that in your mind. I'm not the body. I'm not even the mind. I'm not the body. I'm not even the mind. I'm not the body. not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. I am not the body. I am not even the mind. Now there is a meditation free download video on the Isha Kriya website. There are many meditation practices on YouTube. Yesterday I watched a meditation video where the emphasis was on thinking about gratitude, compassion, love, kindness, things you love about yourself. So that was more a meditation about positive thinking in different ways to make you feel dynamic, powerful and happy. The meditation with breathing, slightly different. It's about clearing your mind, giving you a moment of peace, calm reflectiveness. But it can still make you feel powerful, dynamic and happy, because it gives you that moment of peace. You're not distracted and worried about the past or the future, but just focusing on the moment, just thinking about now and being able to take that break from thinking. I tend to try to avoid thinking and just pay attention to what's around me, to be living in the moment, to pay attention to how my body feels, to the trees, the room, wherever I am. And as soon as I give that attention and really live in the moment and give it my presence, I find that my thoughts drift away, they're unimportant, and I'm not worried about them. Okay, so that's the breathing practice that you can do, and at any moment in the day you can say to yourself the phrase that was used there. If you prefer not to say the phrase, you could say on the in-breath in your head, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, and then on the out-breath the same. That's another way of doing it if you prefer, but I like the first phrase because it reminds me to focus not on what's on the mind and not to focus on what the body is doing too much. Posing, power poses. Stand up, put yourself into a confident pose with your feet shoulder width apart, your head up, and if you stand like this for 2 minutes a day, it's proven to make you feel calmer and more in control. Something students often don't do much because they're sitting and sitting in a lesson, so it's good to move around in a lesson when possible. And again, as professionals, people in the workplace, may not get the chance to do this very much sometimes in line of work. So it's good to be upright and feeling confident. And if you do this, you're putting your body into that place that feels more calm and more in control. Whereas if you hunch up your body, then your body is taken into a less confident place. Remember, emotions and feelings are a response to what your mind is thinking, because your subconscious reacts to your conscious mind thinking. But also, your body is also teaching your emotions how to feel. So if you're putting yourself into a confident place, then your body will respond to that and you'll feel better. And it's a bit like, if you think about it like a drug, a medicine, or alcohol, all of those things have an impact on how your body feels, have an impact on how you're thinking. So if you're thinking, I'm doing something positive with my body, and your body is also responding to what you're doing with it, physiologically it sets off good hormones, and it's a good thing to do. Thinking. Okay, I've learned from Paralympian athlete Danielle Brown. She has a website, daniellebrown.co.uk. She visited my workplace and talked to us about practices to help students with managing pressure, because I'm a teacher at the moment. And she gave us some ideas about the power poses. That was from her. And also she talked to us about thinking. And she talked about the different layers of the brain. So in the brain we have different layers of the brain, different sections of the brain. We have this cerebrum, which is like the logical thinking part of the brain, where we can do problem solving, we can be rational, we can make sense of things, we can work things out. And in the middle of the brain, we have the amygdala. Now the amygdala is more like a chimp, with lots of emotional thoughts coming from that part of the brain. Now the reason why we have that part of the brain probably goes back to our reptilian origins. It goes back to evolution because of the need for survival, because of survival instincts, because of the development of the fight or flight response in response to a threat. Now, obviously physical survival was more important in the past. These days we have less concerns about being attacked by a lion or some kind of predator. So we have a different situation physically, but biologically we've still got the same responses to threats or perceived threats. So what we see as a threat, we might emotionally respond in the same way as we would to a physical threat. And we respond in the same way to an emotional threat as we would to physical danger or risk. This is a real concern, and what Daniel Goleman talks about when he talks about emotional intelligence is he says that it's very important that we be aware of biologically, and we still have these instincts. And so the key thing to do is with any thought, you tend to find, and Krishnamurti, I've learned from Jiddu Krishnamurti, that our thoughts in our mind come from one of two main emotions. So either fear or desire. And so we've got to be aware of those thoughts, and we can basically evaluate or analyse our thoughts. This doesn't mean we have to say that's a good thought or a bad thought, or I'm being bad by thinking that, or I'm being good by thinking that. You don't have to think that. What you can think instead is, okay, that's a thought. Is it rational? Does it make sense? Is it about reality? Or is it just some form of fear or some kind of thought attached to a desire? Generally, we're always living we're always trying to live in either the past or the future. We're often feeling we regret things we did in the past, or things we didn't do, and we feel some kind of desire, something we wish for or hope for in the future. But Eckhart Tolle teaches us that in fact we can only live in the moment, in the present moment. That is all we have. So he talks about the power of now, the power of the present moment. Forgiveness can only come from yourself. You can only really forgive yourself. So in terms of the past, you need to die to the past. Ignore these negative thoughts about the past. Don't focus too much on the future, especially in a negative way. You can only really live in the present moment. No one can live in the future or the past. You can only really live in the present moment. So in that sense, Tolle distinguishes between psychological time and clock time. He says clock time's useful, you can use it to arrange meetings, where you're going to be somewhere. But psychological time is where our mind is caught up with thinking about the past or dwelling on the future. So live in the moment. Those negative thoughts, okay, deal with those by thinking, is that rational? Is that real? Or is it just a thought or a feeling? And if you don't think that it's going to improve your virtue and make you morally good, to keep thinking that thought, or to give that thought any attention, and if you think that it's not going to make, if you can say, is it going to make me happy when you have that thought? And if you can't answer yes to those questions, to say, yes, it's going to make me virtuous, yes, it's going to make me happy, then you can say to that thought, this is nothing to me. This thought is nothing to me. So it has no control over you then. Tolle says that we tend to identify with the mind too much. We're controlled then by the mind, and that's who we think we are. Our self is tied. Our sense of self is tied up with this idea, this thought in our head. That creates lots of problems for us because it's not a reality. It's just a model in our head. And so that's why breathing is so useful, because you're focusing your attention away from the mind and lots of these useless negative thoughts that don't really help us. Okay, and we focus our attention on something other than the mind, the breath. Okay. With attention, Krishnamurti refers to attention as being like a fire. The brain is a powerful organ. We often don't use it in the right way. So if we give a full focus and attention on something, we lose negative thoughts. They can't exist if we're giving something our full focus and attention. We become passionately focused. We start to experience a sense of flow in the moment, and we start to really give something our best skills and effort when we do that. So those are really useful practices.